Well, we'll definitely keep you updated on the developments that will play out tomorrow. Remember, at KTM, we're the home of unbiased journalism. We'll give you live pictures as things transpire across the country, even here in Nairobi CBD. But speaking of the Gen Z protest anniversary that are set to be held tomorrow, we want to give you a journalist's account. It's so rare that the cameramen and reporters give their own take of how things transpired while covering such engagements in terms of the protests that were held. This feature coming your way will go behind the cameras and we'll take a look at the men who stand behind the cameras. Here is that report. We'll leave you with it. My name is Jesse Rogers. Our sign language interpreter is Pretty Janet. Enjoy.
The June 25th would not turn to be what it became.
It was terrifying. I could not believe my eyes. I thought I was watching a movie.
You're literally watching history unfold.
They were shooting live bullets into the crowds.
I saw several youths falling down.
It was baptism by fire.
There were snipers up at KCC. I even zoomed at them and I saw them. I'm going to be shot and I leave my family here.
To this date, I'm convinced that as a country, we shouldn't have had the June 25th kind of day in this country.
1 year down the line, it is time for reflection.
Rolling.
My name is Wellington Nyongesa. I am the intake editor of the group under the convergence concept. So I'm in charge of what is called news gathering, the deployments of teams, and overall planning of content in the group. And usually the way we cover protests in this country, we have always prepared ourselves to cover trouble, stone throwing, and violence. But days before the June 25th one, we saw a very different kind of demonstration. It was very peaceful. So the work that we saw a few days before June 25th was by young, well-educated young men walking and actually passing across a message. And they were carrying bottles of water, right? That was before now. Later, it started being interfered with by what we consider to be gangs. Because when it began, that revolt, in fact, our friends across the nation had a splash of, in fact, they said, a new kind of demonstrators, yeah? And they had pictures of young men, the 25-year-olds, the 22-year-olds, who were on the street walking peacefully and actually passing a message of that the new finance bill was going to overtax them. So that was very peaceful.
Rolling. My name is Francis Ontomo. I'm the special projects editor here at the Standard Media Group. In most newsrooms, no one really envisioned that this was going to be a huge coverage because it was just another protest, because there were a series of protests that the Gen Zs had put up. And therefore, on this day, it was just another coverage. So I remember when we were planning for the deployment, it was just, let's have this person man this street, move with this camera person. And therefore, it wasn't that comprehensive. So we were just apportioning people and telling them, move to this street, man this street, watch out for this, look at how protesters will be behaving, look at how the police response that will be coming out. So largely, it was just another coverage, but I think things moved so fast. This turned out to be something else, given the magnitude of what we saw. So no one envisioned that it was going to be blood and turmoil, but this is what really turned out to be.
So I was on air, a normal day on Tuesday. Back then, KTN News was still there, so we had News Center all through. So ideally, on a shift, the morning shift, back then when there was KTN News, you'd do News Center, then Nigeria would come, then you'd go back and do 1 p.m. This day was, I don't know, I don't even have the words to explain it, because it started as a normal day. So you come, there are protests. The previous week, we had equally witnessed protests. So you're ready, you have the details, and you're just waiting. At the beginning of the day, I think no one knew how it would turn. I mean, it was just a normal day protest. You come with your facts, you'll do links, link up with reporters from different areas in Nairobi or in the country, and then just go home. But it took a different turn. So we started at 9 as usual, and there were pockets. Slowly, demonstrators kept on, just streaming into the CBD. So I remember, I think Mugire was in Kawangware. And at that time, that area, people had already come out. So we started doing links from various areas, Mombasa included, Chanji was there. And then slowly at around 10-ish, it started building up.
My editor called from the office and said they needed one person to go to Supreme Court. That's where Faith Odhiambo, LSK president, was condemning the attacks on journalists, which had happened. Remember, the protests had started like June 16, 18, not there. So they were going to condemn the attacks. So you can imagine I had to go alone because my videographer had already reached that place. He was already there. He had been dropped at Supreme Court. So here I am walking from I&M to Supreme Court, even though it's not that long, but considering the circumstance, it's dangerous. So I had to first pass the protesters who wanted to head to the Parliament. And remember, Parliament is close to Supreme Court. So they were coming. Then the police had barricaded. So I had to pass the first protesters. Then I go and pass the police. So what I did, I just used to show my badge, the company's badge. I'm a journalist. Then I passed. Okay, this first part was okay. They thought I'm also protesting with them. So the police side was, I had to go to the farthest end and you deal with that one police. I was allowed to pass. Then I went, when I arrived, Faith spoke. Some few minutes later, she was done. Now when we were coming out, now the other side, they had now overpowered the police. Now they were coming with full force.
Most of the demonstrators actually were when the tear gas exploded, they rushed into All Saints Cathedral compound, the church. But it went to an extent that there were so many. The police started hurling tear gas inside the church.
Numbers kept increasing. Yeah, so the way it was 30 minutes ago is not how it will be the next 30. So the masses kept coming. Yeah. Their flags, placards, singing the patriotic songs. It was a mixture of just normal young people with the artists, those who came with the nganyas, sport bikes. And this was along Kenyatta Avenue and, of course, Mwindi Mbingu Street.
At around 12, it had built up. There were so many youth, and at that time, there's that excitement. Yes, I look like a Gen Z, but I'm not a Gen Z, but equally I'm a millennial, so I can equally relate to them. And you're doing something for the country. There's that, oh my God, youth are standing up. So I was so psyched, but I didn't want them to get hurt at the same time. Because I think the previous week, a few got arrested, some got shot. So at that time, I'm like, oh my God, I just hope this time around the government behaves. But at the same time, you're trying to act professional. I'm at work at the end of the day,
As journalists were told you're supposed to be behind the police. So it's protesters, then the police, then the journalist. At this particular time, they could throw stones, do this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We ran. So we went towards the parliament. We are also told the other side they're coming. So they surrounded the parliament. So we were outside. I was outside their parliament at the gates.
Hivi sasa mjini ni kama kukona standstill.
Around 2 p.m., 2:50 or 14:50 hours. I think the police had retreated. I don't know what the reasons were, but I think the other group on the other side of Parliament were almost also progressing to Parliament. So I think they had regrouped to re-strategize or something. That's when now the youth took the opportunity and they ran through Ndimbingo Street, of course, through Family Basilica, City Hallway, all the way to Parliament.
And the crowds were, like it was in masses. And at that time you're in studio and you're wondering, oh my God. At that time you don't know how to say it, what to say it. You're live. You're supposed to be reacting as well as informing the viewer. So you're having multiple channels of information coming to you, and you're finding a way of decoding it so that it's not alarming to the country, but also you're trying to report what's happening just to ensure that you give the right perspective to the viewer. So long story short, we went all the way until I think they entered Parliament at around 3:02ish. That legendary shot. I think our videographer Macau is the one who was there, and he's the one who had it. And we were literally the only one who had that particular shot.
My name is Cyrus Macau. I'm videographer at Standard Group. A lot of gunshots and tear gas. I could not believe it because I saw the youth who were really walikuwa wamejijaza, yani they were approaching the policeman without fear. And the policeman had the big car with the one, it's called a water bowser or water cannon. There were two. One had the colors, different colors like pink and blue. Walitupa maji mpaka ikaisha. They brought the second one. The second one, vile walianza tu hivi, the youth wakaanza kutoa pressure kwa tire. They overpowered the policemen. They told us they are going now to the parliament. They had coordinated with the other youths on the other side of Uhuru Highway to go and enter from Uhuru Park. So they came down at Intercon so that they can meet and go together. So as we were approaching Uhuru Park, as we were approaching Parliament, some guys from the church, Holy Family, called us, journalists, come, we want to help you, we want to give you water. We went inside the church and they gave us water. So while we were having, as we finished having water, we rushed outside to go and see how far the youth have gone. So we remembered that we have other guys who are at Parliament and they are filming what's happening. So we decided to go up the classes. There are some few classes in the church. We went up the stairs, but we didn't find any open door. We decided to come back and go back to Parliament. As we were going to Parliament, I remember I gave them an idea that if we can find our way to Cardinal Otunga Towers, the building that's beside the church, and go up, we can get some good shots. Yeah, so we went there first. The security guys didn't let us go inside. So we started going back to Parliament. On our way to Parliament, we met some other journalists, and they told us, you can't access Parliament. It's too, it's bad. Yeah, it's very chaotic, and we can't film there. So we told them that we were thinking of going back to Cardinal Otunga, but those guys have refused us to go inside. So they told us, let's go together and see if they will disagree. So tukashikana mikono and we left for Cardinal Otunga.
And gladly so they allowed us. We made our way to one of the buildings in town, and of course we would have now the view of what was happening down.
We got into the lift very fast. Our live view was almost done. We didn't have enough batteries, so we went to, I think it was 6th floor, at some window where we could see as the youth going inside Parliament. Our live view didn't have power. Lucky enough, around there was some sockets. So my reporter helped me, Kipchumba, helped me fix the live view direct into power so that we can transmit the pictures as it was happening at Parliament.
Live pictures, the protesters have accessed Parliament buildings. They're in the vicinity of Parliament. As you can see there, they're jumping walls. So that is the situation here in Nairobi. Tear gas being left to disperse them. But
after a few minutes, I asked Kipchumba, can you go to the other floor and see if we can get some bigger space where we can see down clearly, because at the other floor we were seeing through a window, so it was limited for us to pan and zoom out and get some good quality videos. Yeah, so Kipchumba ran up very fast. He was very cooperative. I liked the teamwork because everyone was really helping a lot. He went up and he spoke to some guys at the hotel. The guys agreed, so we disconnected our gear and went up. I think it was on 8th floor. The guys gave us even power. They gave us power cables to get power from their main source. We went to some veranda. That's where we managed to get some good pictures.
From where we were, of course, the moment the young people got themselves into that Parliament space, shots were fired all over. You'd hear the shots. And because I was there since morning, I would tell when it's a shot and when it's a tear gas canister.
Wow, it was bad.
What did you see?
I saw very rowdy youths going inside Parliament, and I heard a lot of gunshots. I could see some of them even falling down.
As they retreated, running for their lives, some were not making it. People were falling down. Others would grab those who fell and run with them. Others were left there to... Yeah, so it wasn't a pleasing thing to see.
It was terrifying. I could not believe my eyes. I thought I was watching a movie. I had to look at the camera again and see if I'm recording or if I'm seeing with my eyes it's happening. And I could call Kipchumba Emmanuel, my reporter, to come and confirm if it's true.
So you're literally watching history unfold right before your eyes. at the same time, it feels like it's a scene straight from a movie. So, as usual, when there's breaking news, the gallery is busy, the director is always on your, earpiece, just trying to direct you, trying to tell you where to go next. I think at some point, everyone was so stunned. I was on my own because everyone is trying to figure out what is happening. And it was so interesting because we were in the glass studio, so I could see people in the newsroom gathering at one TV so that they can watch the event as well. And in my head, I'm like, am I making sense, first of all? Am I reporting this accurately? What should I say? My biggest question in my head was, what should I say? How should I say it? What will I say that will not get me in trouble? But it was, I can't say it was exciting. Yes, it was, but at the same time, it was scary. So here I am seeing people being shot, people dropping down literally, and I have to ad-lib live. I haven't even processed it myself. So it was one of those days I don't think I'll ever forget in terms of the mixed reactions that I got from myself, like from within. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. And at the same time, I'm on Twitter because I'm trying to find out what is happening, what a guy is saying, so that I can equally report on the same. And people were saying, eh, majamani kubaya.
The images, the video image of us seeing the inside of Parliament and how these youths now went over the fence and accessed the house was us alone, KTN. We are the ones who got that picture, yeah, and then freezed it into several still pictures. But the original one was a video one, and it was done by Cyrus Macau, who had accessed the top floor of Teleposta Towers. So the priority was to get the news out. Yes, you need to inform the country, the people who live in Nairobi. We ensured they know the state of the city through live images, which we sent on KTN News. Because people must know. News also helps you to know your environment, yeah? And then the other part of the world, yeah? Into the villages, we told them that this is what Kenyans are thinking, yeah? And so we ensured that whatever was happening in the house, right? The National Assembly first got onto our screens and then later was captured. So we followed through. Even the young men that managed to access even the speaker's seat and all that stuff, we wanted to bring out all those images of them, yeah, and what they were saying. We were able even to bring out the real anger of the country.
The office kept calling, like, you guys just stay put, don't leave. And the other side I'm hearing, manze, you were saying, mnachoma, I mean, the whole world is watching, you should leave that place. Wanasema watawa shoot, because there were snipers up at KCC and others at Parliament. I even zoomed at them and I saw them. Ikona, hey, hapa hivi itakuwa ngori. I'm going to be shot and I leave my family here. Na maisha itasonga. If it were not for that shot, I think a lot of people would have been killed. Because I think those security guys were watching and seeing like, hey, hapa hivi, they are being watched, and ingewaseti tu sana. Yeah.
Around 4 p.m., I had to hand over to the next anchor. I think it was Suleiman Nyeri and Dennis Aseto who were coming to relieve me. So I was actually removing my makeup. So I know I'm done. I'm trying to figure out how do I get home, what's the safest way to get home. And then all of a sudden, Ken Mijungu, who was my boss then, tells me, Ashley, don't go. Go back to studio. I'm like, what's happening? Because at that time, I'm like, you know what? I need time to just relax and process everything. Go back to studio. What's happening? Kizito is sending you something. I'm like, okay, can I get to at least look at it before I go? No, just go get mic'd. I'm like, I don't have makeup. I was just removing. Go. So I enter studio, the auto cue, they had loaded the statement.
KTN News. Now, in the wake of a detailed coverage of the ongoing protest against the Finance Bill 2024 that has been organized by Gen Z protesters, we would like to inform our viewers that we have received threats from authorities of intention to shut us down. We would like to inform the public of our commitment to defend the public interest, and we shall not be cowed by any threats.
I read it the first time, and then now I internalized it. So the second time, I think I was a bit more confident. But at that time, I don't know how everything just sort of escalated, because that clip circulated and everyone kept on calling me, what's happening? I equally don't know what's happening because I'm just reading a statement and you could see the phone is ringing, I'm on air. So I'm equally, my parents are calling, my friends are calling, family members, everyone's worried, even colleagues, other media houses, they want to know what's happening so they can report it as well. And I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it because I really lack the words.
So showing Parliament being overrun was, we thought it was a very professional thing for any media house to do, any journalism house to do, because it was bringing out the disappointment that the people have with the government and Parliament that was not listening to the people. There was nothing really odd that will stop us, even according to the code of ethics, code of conduct that we have, and even the Kenya Information and Communications law. There was nothing that was completely wayward, out of place that we were doing. And so when we got the information, we simply informed the Media Council. Then we proceeded doing our work. Yeah, because that is basically trying to curtail the freedom of the press. And freedom of the press is freedom for people to communicate and express themselves.
We were standing in a very dangerous point of view, especially from somebody shooting from where you might not be seeing, because there was a lot of guns in that area, and especially after learning that the security officers did not like anyone to expose what was going on inside there. Yeah, everyone was on duty that day. So at some point we were calling some other crew members, asking, where are you? Are you okay? I remember we even called Macau. And now when that rumor went out that there might be a journalist who was been shot dead. So even the people who were at the Standard Group headquarters were calling us, asking whether we are. So at around 2 p.m. when everything went loose around the Parliament, now the contacts started flowing. Everybody was trying to find out whether your people are safe. Yeah, but I can tell you, it was not good for a beginner. Yeah, it was my worst day ever. It still plays back in my mind.
I was scared for my friends. I was really scared because when we were going to town on that day, 90% of my colleagues, kila mtu alikuwa amedipotiwa to a specific place where they were supposed to be reporting from.
What is the first thing you did when you got to the office?
Not get to the office, I borrowed a power bank to charge my phone. Yeah, and received many phone calls from my mom. My mom. I'm okay.
1 year down the line, for me, it is time for reflection. Yeah, there were negative things and positive things. And I think as human beings, you learn from all, and especially the negative ones. And clever governments are the ones that learn fast and then change with the time. Even those that make decisions of government, they should learn and not think that watu wanatuambia nini. No, it's basically to learn, change, improve, and then move forward. That is usually the best approach to life.
Every time there's a protest or any other thing, that the police are working hand in hand with the journalists, they should always be there to protect us. When we go there with our equipments and putting our lives on the front line, because we are all putting our lives on the front line, they shouldn't see us as their enemies. We are not trying to expose what they're doing. We're just getting things the way they are. If you are doing the right thing, you have no reason to worry about us. Okay? And if we are doing the right thing ourselves, we have no reason to worry about you.
We cannot allow ourselves to be broken. We just need to soldier on as journalists and keep telling these stories because they really matter, and they will always transform our societies.
As much as I feel like it is a growth curve in my career, at what cost? Lives, not just 1 or 2 or 5, but either way, one life lost is one too many. So no, the cost was too high. There are families who are still grieving, families who have been impacted by the events that happened during that particular period. So no, it wasn't worth it. As much as, yes, we are fighting for a country and we are fighting for our rights and for the future of it, which I believe I have a role to play in one way or the other, not when it comes to life.